So this will be like the first part of a matchup guide for like Zeta kinda, and I just want to kind of give like my 2 cents on it and some other like things that I could bring up and talk about. And I'm really gonna focus on like three main categories. It would be like the way you would play neutral against this character, against the character, um, or at least the way I play neutral against the character. Um, Try to take like a lot of the good parts out of there. Then you're gonna take the um, options that you'll have on defense as far as dealing with said character and their pressure, and then the punishes for those characters. I want to try and make it like nice and simple. I don't want to like overflow with too much, like overload with too much information, I guess. And the first character that I'm gonna do is Katalina, because literally everything for her just kind of popped into my head, like immediately. Alright, so I'm gonna start with the neutral. So Catalina and Zeta share pretty much the same space in neutral. Um, so a lot of like Zeta's like really good poke buttons, 5B, 2B, 5C, and 5A. Catalina share pretty much more or less the same kind of like space. So like 5B, Catalina, like, and her 2B, and then 5C. And these are just for the far proximity normals, of course. You know, you're not really gonna play neutral too much with the close proximity normals. And then she also has things like this, Fireball. And she can change up the speed depending on what strength she does, and I like to call it a stinger. So just for the sake of, you know, naming, I'm just gonna keep calling it a stinger. So one thing that it is worth noting about Zeta is that her projectile beats other projectiles. So light and medium of Catalina's projectile will be beat by the light and medium versions of Zeta's projectile, and Zeta's will go full screen. Zeta's does have more startup on hers, obviously. So if we try to do it from closer, hold on. Try to do it from a little bit closer, I'm gonna get hit. But doing it like round start, you won't lose if Catalina decides she wants to throw out her fireball. However, if Catalina does EX fireball, I'm gonna go back to full screen really quickly just to kind of give you just a glimpse. You'll pierce through, but you'll trade because EX Fireball has 2 hits on it. If you do EX, you still trade because you pierce through, but once again, it does 2 hits. So it'll eat 1 hit, but it will not eat both. Now getting back into like the normal side of things, Catalina can walk in and out around the same ranges that Zeta can, as far as like pressing mediums and punishing, and then she can always on block or on hit cancel into fireball, and that's something you have to kind of be a bit wary of. And if she wants to just throw out fireball, then you know she can always do that too. And then there's stinger. So I need to turn guard on. Alright. So back up a little, just so this should be the right spacing. Now Stinger's like scary because when she does it, unless she's like in range for you to punish, which I'll go over later, she can kind of whiff punish you by throwing out another medium or a heavy. And then I guess I'll just record it. But if you delay your button press, you should be able to, if I can delay it, not be stupid, get a whiff punishing of your own. Um, you're probably not going to get too much reward off of your whip punish with Zeta in that match. Well, in that situation, unfortunately. But it does tend to work out. So things that you need to be mindful of, especially against Katalina, are going to be 5B, 2B, 5C, and all of these you can cancel in a fireball on block. Now, there's a way around these. Especially if you just see like Katalina just kind of like walking in and out and just kind of like chucking fireballs, or she'll throw like a fireball and run in at you. So you've got neutral jump 2-2A, right? You can also jump forward with it, and you can also jump back with it. But and then that'll punish most, if not like all fireballs, because you can literally do it on reaction. So something that's good to just kind of like keep in mind in this matchup is maybe around like here, I think. Just neutral jump. So whenever she's throwing out fireballs, you'll jump clean over them, and you can react with 2-2A or 2-2 light, whatever you want to call it, which would be down down. So, and this will close that space that you need, and it does really decent corner carry for mid screen. You can also do it with heavy or C as well for the EX variant, but you will lose that cooldown. I'm getting hit because I'm just having my minis, but yeah, I'm just trying to go over some of the neutral stuff that we can do right now. Now, if you did just so happen to miss time your 2-2A, you can go back like this, and that will more or less kind of leave you safe. So if she decides she wants to throw a fireball afterwards or something, like, whoop. I think that's wrong. But if she decides she wants to throw a fireball afterwards, then you can, like, you'll be here at the end of the screen, and then you can test her next fireball with this. It's also good to like kind of force Cat to like roll in on you or jump. So if you can get into here, I need to set the defensive option right now. No, that's 5D. I'll get into that a little bit later. Spot dodge. Ah! Alright. So you do kind of want to get into the habit of like trying to force her to roll. Because if she rolls, she can get clipped. So it's smart to kind of like throw projectiles from here. Also, you can charge the medium version. Kind of like mix up the timing on that a little bit. Force her to kind of roll in towards you so you can cover that space. And then when she does, you have to be wary about your fireball placement at that point. So you don't want to like overextend with fireballs, and you don't want to keep walking backwards, because if she gets you to the corner, she has some really nasty corner pressure, right? So you definitely don't want to do that. But let's go back to mid screen. So say like she rolls once here, you don't want to throw any more fireballs anymore. You can check her moving forward with this. And if she decided she wanted to try and roll through like one of your block strings, hold on, let's set it to this one because there's nothing right here. But do this, kind of put yourself back over here. Um, but if she were to try and run afterwards, for example, you can clip her with heavy. Now, also something to be aware of is she can also shorten her run and just cancel the run in a heavy, which most of the cast can. So while this is good for, checking to see if they'll run or they'll jump, so you can hit 5C or 2C for your anti-air, right? You can... hold on. Like if you... I need to make her run a little bit further, but... oh, that's probably too far. You'll get whiff punished. So it's something to be mindful of when you are going for that kind of situation. Maybe there it'll be better to throw a projectile sometimes, because if she stops running, like it's never a bad option to throw the projectile either, but you can kind of like get them to stop coming after you with things like that, and then proceed to move yourself forward by throwing projectiles and placing yourself in position for your mediums and your heavies to go off. And you want that to happen, because that's how we're going to get our confirms. Put people in the corner. Alright. So now, I want to talk about defense. Oh, wait, hold on. That's not the right guard. There it is. Alright, so Katalina is, like, very strong on defense. She has this, which is really good. Cancels it into fireball. Now that fireball pressure is really scary, because once she like throws in EX and gets a hit confirm off of it, you're gonna take a massive chunk of damage. So it's always like you have to, against like Katalina, have to play the long defensive game when she gets you in the corner. But one thing that you can be mindful of is if she does this and her third action isn't a projectile, you can contest in some situations. So if she does 5B, micro dash, 2L, then you can contest in the middle of the dash. So here, let me set the replay up so we can see. I think it might be 2L. Yeah. So you can contest the dash with 2L. And then it leads me into one of the punishes, ironically enough, for just kind of like running in general. You get 2L, 5L. And that'll get you a spear dash. You can do regular EX spear dash. You can even super cancel out of it. I do recommend doing easy super on it, because doing like the manual input is a bit tricky. Wasn't expecting a clash there. Seeing as it's like a double quarter circle motion, and doing that out of a light is kind of difficult. But that is something that will get you out the corner. So one of the things that we need to be mindful of is fireball pressure, because it's either safe or it's going to put her into a distance where literally the next button she presses, she can just hit confirm an EX fireball. And EX fireball on counter hit, one of the worst things that you will ever experience in your life. And that was like 40 something percent just for getting hit. Yeah, Zeta does explode. Um, Also, we do have rocket kick, which is nice. So, I didn't realize I had that set to record. So that's always good to be mindful of. At some ranges, like that range right there, it's not good to rocket kick. You can kind of wait for fireball, but startup is usually really slow on it. That's one of the safer block strings for Katalina. You can spot dodge it, but you will get whiff punish. So this is one of those, wait for her. You have to wait for her to get outside of 5C range, really, because she can do it 5C2 as well, I believe. Well, you can catch startup on 5C if you're fast enough. So she does fireball. She really can't do 5C, but the medium will give her like access to Stinger. Like that. And that's not something that we want to be a part of either. And now, another thing in this game. The crouch light, micro dash, crouch light, walk forward into throw situations. I had random tech on. I think I was doing something with that. But crouching light. She's got. It's really good on Katalina because her crouching light is really fast. I think it's about 5 frame, which is generally the fastest frame normals in the game. So. And this one is a bit harder to interrupt with dashes. And then they can always mix in throw or overhead. For some really stupid damage. By the time you get to the corner, if she forces you into the corner, you're not going to have that much health anyway. And then guts will probably scale enough for you to survive, maybe. But at the end of the day, it all depends on how much health you have there. Okay, now gonna get into punishes. So Stinger, you can punish it with 5A. So you can do EX 66H. Depending on the range, the regular 22L will work. I mean 66L will work. However, I do recommend that you just go for this one because this one will hit more consistently at like all ranges on your punish. Fireballs are pretty safe, but she's got to be in your face for it to be like a bad fireball. And you can kind of contest. Yeah, man, her fireball's actually mad good. Alright, so take it back. You can contest, but yeah, it has highlighted blue. It lets us know that it is our turn, and is no longer our opponent's turn. So we can contest. However, that's about as much as we're gonna do. So they can't press a button. They will get counter hit in between trying to do it. So it's not, you know. It's not too necessary to look out for because 9 times out of 10, if they're gonna do fireball at all, it'll be from here or here, or just raw fireball from here because it is a good zoning tool. And then I believe if she does EX, she can run behind it slightly. Yeah. So TP can punish this one of 2 ways. Hold on. You can wait for her to land, And then depending on what strength of DP she does, you can hit her with either 5C for a punish, or if I do medium, that's not medium. You could get like a fancy like 2C punish. That does work. By the way, here, I have to get a little bit closer. I have to get a little bit closer to show you, but that usually does work. What else does she have that's punishable? This move. So she can hold it and charge it. I did that just to do max charge. And you can punish it. But she can also dash out of it. Kind of puts her in like a weird spot. Max charge will put her too far away. If she does backdash. She can also dash inwards. Which I believe should be plus. Not plus, but safe. If I can get it to guard. Yeah, so it's usually safe at max charge. However, you can interrupt it with multiple hits. So, like 2A, 5U for example, that will work. 5U by itself will also work. If you can get both spear dashes off, then they will work as well. But if she does like, if she doesn't max charge it, you get a pretty decent punish off of that. Oh, whoops, hold on. Whoop. How did I get that? Maybe you don't. No, you do. You get 5L punish. There's no shame in mashing it out here. you will get that one. So sweeps are punishable, but sweeps can also be canceled in the specials, so I just tend to ignore that. Can't really worry too much about that one because, you know, I guess, right? So other things that she has that are punishable. One of her stinger, that stinger DP fireball, FADC, and then let's go over her supers because they have to be punished. They're weird punishes. So her super does 3 hits. 1, 2, 3. And if you press too early, you can get clipped. You can armor punish it on the last hit. Trying to do 2C is way too risky, so it's not really worth doing. I just wanted to show it to you. And then you can punish the landing. Turn counter back off. I was dashing. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So for her supers, you want to be mindful of waiting for it to end. It's the same thing with their super skybound art. Because she flies up and then does like 5 or 6 hits going upward. But you have to wait until she reaches the peak if you want to get like a decent enough punish. You can also wait till she lands as well. One. In fact, it might be better to just wait till she lands. If you manage to block it. You know, type stuff. Let's see what else. Trying to think what else she has that can be punished. As far as anti-airing her goes, so her JU is really good. Like, probably one of the best jump-ins in the game, in my opinion. So what you would want to do for that, you can definitely anti-air it, but running jump, and then there's like super jump to kind of like delay the timings on them. Zeta's got a really good anti-air. Oh, whoops. But if you do it too early, you're obviously going to get clipped. So, you know, it's just something to be mindful of. And then, as far as like my impressions on this matchup, I do kind of feel like it's, like personally, I feel like it's even. Because they do share the same ranges, while, well, I think it's like slightly in Katalina's favor, but that slight difference is a lot. And that's just because the reward that Katalina gets off of straight hits are far better than that of Zeta's. So Katalina will do more damage, and her corner pressure is kind of ridiculous. But we do also have safe jumps and pogo mix. So our corner pressure is good as well. Not as good as Katalina's in my opinion, because she can keep you grounded for longer. And doesn't have to worry about you jumping, because if you jump, you're getting clipped by a fireball. So yeah, I would say it is like 5-5 Catalina's favor, but the ranges that we share are very similar. We do win the fireball war. Our punishes for each other are typically going to be pretty much the same. Ending with a special that does like really good corner carry from mid screen, or will put us in a, you know, bad situation in the corner. And I think that would pretty much be it for my impressions on the matchup. But it's definitely not unwinnable. We can win. We can win this match. It's just getting hit is one of the worst things that can happen to Zeta, and that's pretty much against any character. But that will cover my like little matchup guide on Katalina. And the next one, I think I will do it on Gran as soon as I can write down more information on him. But that would be it for that, I suppose. Thank you guys for watching, and I will leave links to like my Twitch and my Twitter in my comment sec. Well, in the description below.